Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining me in this video. So today I'm out hopefully to photograph some hares. That would be the image that I like to go home with today. But obviously at the moment I'm in a woodland, so obviously there's a chance of maybe capturing a few other things as well. But as can be the case with wildlife photography, there's also the chance of going home with absolutely no images. However, I will have images to show in this video regardless of what I capture today, and I'll get onto that later in the video. But I've been having a look around in this woodland and I've definitely seen some signs of hare activity. So whether or not I see any today, I don't know yet. But there are definitely hares in this woodland. I've also seen some deer tracks as well, so if I'm really lucky I might get a deer wandering past. Again, that would be quite fortunate, but regardless it's good to be out anyway. So I'm going to have a little look around, try and be as quiet as possible, which is difficult if you're recording video. But just see if I can spot anything, and I'll talk a bit more about what I'm using today in terms of the camera equipment, and I'll also talk about some other projects that I've been doing recently, small projects with other wildlife, so I'll get back to you shortly. So as you might be able to tell in the video, the wind has really picked up. It's really strong, and although I'm in a woodland and there's some reasonable shelter around me, it's still having quite an effect on the hide that I'm in today. Been here for quite a while now. Other than hearing some small birds behind me, I haven't seen anything to take any photographs of. But I'll be here for quite a few hours, so you never know. Even in that long period I may get lucky and see one thing, which is always enjoyable. So the wildlife comes first. Try not to disturb it, and if I see something, that makes it worthwhile, and if I get a good picture, that's just a bonus. But I'm going to keep looking around this area because I definitely feel there will be hare sort of in this area going about their business, and hopefully I'll get lucky and see one. But the reason that I'm out today to photograph hare is because that recently I've been doing a few little projects, and I've been spending some time trying to get a couple of nice photographs of mountain hare, and that's been a fantastic experience. It's not been easy, but I have got a couple of images that I'm quite pleased with, and I got a few video clips as well. So as I'm keeping my eyes peeled here, I will show you some of that video and some of the images and talk a little bit about that. But yeah, just a case of trying to be quiet, which, as I said earlier, is hard for making video, but you never know, I may be lucky and see something. But I hope you enjoy this little section about the mountain hare. I'd like to show this photograph not because I am proud of it, but rather as there is an interesting story behind it and an important message. On this day I was out hiking in the mountains with my camera around my neck on a strap, hoping to find some wildlife, but I wasn't looking for mountain hares. I'd been hiking for a long time and it was tough going and I needed a rest. I sat down on a small rock, and within a couple of seconds something white to my left caught my eye. It was quite a distance away. I thought it looked like white fur, so I slowly raised my camera to my eye to identify what I had spotted. It was relatively small in the frame, but I could see the eye and top of the head of what my instincts told me was a mountain hare, possibly scared of me and doing its best to hide while keeping an eye on me. I instinctively held down the shutter button for a fraction of a second, slowly lowered my camera, and I backed away very slowly to a spot perhaps 100 yards away. I was internally upset that this hare had been surprised by me, but I was delighted that I'd successfully backed a significant distance away and the hare remained where I had saw it. With birds of prey in the area, the last thing I wanted to do was put my photography first, scare the hare into running from me, and make it stand out to potential predators. I'd also like to quickly mention that although the other mountain hare that I show in this video may look relatively large in my photographs and video, my priority was to keep a significant distance from them and not to disturb them. With use of a teleconverter, utilising a modern camera which can record 8K video, having lots of megapixels to allow cropping, using software techniques and a good lens, all these things let me keep well away from the hares, and not once did I fill my frame with a hare. The wildlife always comes first, and I was happy to crop my photos and video rather than push closer and closer. So I'm just recording some video at the moment. Quite a distance off in front of me, I think I can spot a crossbill, which is absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, it's too far away for the gear that I'm using today to make a nice photograph. Also, it's pretty much a silhouette. So I'm going by the shape of its beak, and I'm recording some video at the moment. It's ever so slightly overexposed just to try and show the bird a little bit better. But yeah, that's pretty exciting to see. I just spotted it up in the trees in front of me. So far I'm checking out the front window and the side window, no sign of any hare. But if I can confirm later that that's a crossbill, that's pretty nice to see that today. So I've still not seen any hares, but as I was watching what I think is a crossbill, I saw, I believe, a kestrel fly past, which is quite interesting because coming up in a future video I'll be talking a little bit about a project I've been doing trying to photograph kestrel. So that was really interesting to just see one go by. It actually flew through the higher up areas of the trees, straight past what I think is a crossbill, and it vanished off to my left. So that was nice to see. I didn't record anything in video. But the crossbill, I'm not 100% sure what type it is. I'm not going to get too distracted trying to study that on location. I'll try and see if I can identify it once I get home. It's quite intense when you're doing the wildlife photography. You really need to keep your eyes peeled all around you, and I prefer not to get distracted and look at images or video footage on location. I'll leave that till later. But I'm pretty sure it was a crossbill of some sort, and I'm 95% sure it was a kestrel that flew past it as well. So quite exciting to see these things. No good photographic opportunities, but it's always nice to be out and you're just never sure what you're going to see. I always think it's fantastic if we can actually see something and then the photographs are a very welcome bonus, but not an essential part of being out amongst wildlife. So I've got my hat around this way because if I put the front round the correct way, it gets in my way when I'm taking photographs, and it can disturb some of the netting here as well. You may be able to hear that wind is really howling. I'm glad I'm in a semi-reasonably sheltered spot, otherwise I'd be really feeling it, but it is strong. I would say it's over 40 miles per hour. Today I'm using the Nikon Z8. I don't know if it's going to help me capture any nice photographs. I need to see things at a decent distance, and I'm keeping my eyes peeled all around as I talk here, but the lens I've got is the 100 to 400 millimeter Z lens. A really nice lens. You may have heard me talk about that in one of my previous videos, where I talk about my first couple of months of wildlife with this setup. If you haven't seen that video and you'd like to, it'll be on my channel. I've also in my bag got the 1.4 times teleconverter, but I was hoping I wouldn't need that today, and the light really is variable. Sometimes it's getting really overcast and then the sun comes out, so apologies if I'm a bit dark or there's some overexposure in this video, because it's just constantly all over the place, and the sun is sort of behind me at the moment, which may be affecting the exposure in the camera. So yeah, just being patient, trying to look all around, and hopefully I'll see something and get a nice photograph, but let's see what happens. So I was just going to record a little section to the camera talking about some of the difficulties that I find doing this type of photography. When a pigeon came from somewhere behind me and landed high up in a tree just in front of me, it was never going to be a good image, and I think it stayed for about 10 seconds, and by the time I got my camera on it, it was there for about 2 and flew off. So it was never going to be a good shot. It was never going to be a good pose from the bird. But I do like to take some record shots of what I've seen in a day such as this. But anyway, regardless of that, it's not a good photograph. What I was wanting to talk about is some of the challenges that I find with this type of photography, as opposed to being out, maybe moving around a little bit, or just staying in position but being out with a hide. So I find this netting is very useful. It's helped me capture some nice images, but the difficulty with it is that you don't get obviously near as clear a view as you would without it. So it makes spotting things, especially small birds and that, quite difficult. But the variable light that I've got today is making things extremely hard as well. So it's getting, as you may see at the moment, or I can certainly see looking out, we're getting these bright sunny spells. There's a lot of bright and dark in the woodland, and that's making things quite hard. You know, just to look out through this netting with variable light, dark light, it's making things quite So I've just had a very frantic short period, and I don't want to talk too loudly in case a hare comes back. But as I was recording that last section to camera, the camera was over here, the video camera. I was facing to my left, and I was looking out, and I could just see a hare off in the distance, minding its own business. I think it was chewing on some grass as well. So very frantically I had to get the video camera out of the way, pull my Nikon and tripod over here, get into the correct position, and it didn't stay around too long. It could actually still be there, but it moved further away from me. So I was able to get a few shots, and trusting the autofocus in this camera, which is generally really good, I'm sure I've got a decent shot. So I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, I did believe there would be hare here. I've certainly seen the signs of them, and to have seen one and got what I think is a decent photograph is really exciting. No time to do vlogging, that was out the window. No time to take video either, but just a fleeting moment, some decent light. The light was similar to this, and yeah, got a shot. So I think I need to stop talking and keep my eyes peeled all around, just in case it comes back and I get a chance to take some more images or even some video footage. That would be fantastic. I almost thought I saw it again, but it was a bit of grass blowing. I thought it was possibly its ears, but yeah, time to be quiet and just keep looking. Just had the most incredible 30 to 35 minutes. I was genuinely thinking of leaving. The wind is so strong, the hide was really getting blown around, and because of the noise, I don't know if it was hitting some sort of tree behind me here, the wind, sorry, the noise was just this constant, quite high-pitched noise. And at the moment I still can't hear much. So it was really affecting my senses in terms of hearing the wildlife all around me, if any came. Then suddenly, out the window to my left, I saw a pheasant, a beautiful male pheasant, very colourful. And not long behind it, I saw, which I believe were two red-legged partridge, and I'm still curious if they're in the area. The pheasant took off in that direction, the red-legged partridge went another direction, and I definitely got some nice shots of the pheasant, and I'm hoping I got some decent shots of the red-legged partridge as well. I've photographed pheasant before, but I think I got quite a nice shot today, and I'm hoping I got a decent shot of the red-legged partridge. They moved by pretty quickly, so everything happened very, very quickly. I got some video of the pheasant, and they're back. Well, I'm afraid that was a very fleeting visit. They've went down this direction and now they're off. I just caught the tail end of them running away. I didn't even take a photograph. I'm seeing so much light and shadow. You sometimes think you see something and you really don't. But yeah, what a nice short period that was, about 35 minutes. I have a feeling that's them gone now, because there was two and they've headed off away from me, quite some distance away. Didn't get a chance to take video or anything, but yeah, that was really lucky, really fortunate that I stayed around. I might hang around a little while more, but I think they're gone now. But the wind is so strong, completely against the forecast, but I'll show you what I was able to get. At this point, I'd been out for most of the day, and unfortunately my microphone batteries had run out. Fortunately, I can remember what I felt and said at the end of this day. As I talked about earlier, I'd recently been photographing mountain hare, and that led me to trying to photograph brown hare on this day. I felt fortunate to have seen one, and also to have seen a fantastic range of other wildlife, some of which I didn't photograph, some were just record shots, but I also recognised that I managed to create some photographs that I was really happy with. For me, just seeing the wildlife makes the day worthwhile, and the photos are the icing on the cake. The wildlife is always my priority over taking photographs. If I know what I am photographing will see me, I do my very best to ensure I don't scare it or cause a change in its behaviour. I don't want to push closer and closer in an aim to get better photographs or to fill my frame with wildlife if I feel there is a risk to my subject. Ideally, I don't want the wildlife to know I am there, and that is what gave me the most satisfaction from this day spent in my hide. At most, I got a couple of glances in my general direction from the pheasant, which remained completely undisturbed, but everything else that I saw didn't even look my way. I'm not perfect, and I'm always learning and trying my very best not to disturb wildlife. The wildlife always comes first, and my photography is a very distant second. If you've enjoyed this video, I have more wildlife videos available on my channel, and in my next one I will be talking about photographing kestrels, so be sure to subscribe to see that one. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.